Welcome back, and thanks for bearing with us, folks. Those little server issues solved. We're about to get into the match. Pride versus Windigo. The vetoes are now underway, and I guess we have to talk about those vetoes a little bit before we get into this match. Of course, both these teams have decent map pools. Windigo probably wanting to force it onto the cobble and overpass. What do you think Pride will be looking for, apart from the nuke?
Yeah, I don't think Pride will particularly be looking for nuke per se. I think they're just willing to play around with the prospect of playing nuke. I think mainly on the Pride side of things, I wouldn't be surprised to see them go towards a Mirage if they could. I assume that will be banned out. They'll go more in towards the middle of their map pool. We can look at the players here as well. Certainly worth pointing out, Manice, I kind of talked about, can be an up and down AWPer, but I think that works well with the team around him. I think it's not necessarily a bad thing to be so up and down if you can have those big games where you show up for your team at the right time. And I think he's certainly someone that can have that. And if you have a couple of players behind you that you know will be at least decent, you can always have that to fall back on. So that's always a nice thing for the Polish team to play with.
Yeah, and of course, talking about up and down, Pride just as a lineup pretty much are that fluctuation. They do have that fluctuation in their average level, sometimes being absolute superstars and taking teams maybe way above their level. We just saw them have a great performance against AGO. I don't know if they actually pulled through and won that game, but in the end, we've been on air for what seems like 5 hours. But of course, they played that matchup. They were doing good at the start. Just shows their potential.
Yeah, that was a best of three. So they got to pick Mirage first. That certainly helped them. They took a big win there. I think they did lose the second map fairly convincingly.
They won the third?
I didn't quite get to see, but you know, certainly a good showing from them. And then we look at the Bulgarian team heading into Windigo. Again, not too many results recently. I mean, you look at some of their recent losses. Game Agents, not a particularly well-known team themselves. WASD, not the best. So some maybe question marks about Windigo. I'm really not sure what to expect from them coming into today.
Yeah, they are definitely one of the bigger outliers. They haven't played too much Counter-Strike, especially as this roster. We've seen Outlaws and Imperial play for what seems like 2 years, but this specific roster, they've only played probably less than 20 series. I really don't know what to expect either, if I'm perfectly honest. And maybe that adds to the excitement. Maybe that's a third or possibly even fourth after the previous upsets. Team thrown into the mix as potential to maybe take this home. Of course, we've got that Cinderella storyline, as I've dubbed it, of Squared making that winner's bracket match and maybe even able to take a little bit more. But of course, Windigo, we could add them to the hat as well. This could be a very tightly contested group.
Yeah, the only really time we've seen, I think, Windigo play against top-tier opposition was at the minor. They didn't have Victor there, so tough to really gauge them from that. Yeah. Even though they did take Envy close on the one map, Envy have had their own issues sometimes in terms of transferring it to a LAN environment, and then they just got stomped by Godsent in that loser's best of 3. Again, that's with a stand-in.
That was a horrible scoreline, wasn't it? That was 16-4 and 16-3.
Something like that. It was
Godsent
was not the best, but again, it's tough to say. You can't really gauge too much from that because they had a stand-in. In terms of their online games, yeah, they've been playing a fair bit, but it's not really been against particularly good teams. So, yeah, as you were kind of saying, I think this is a really nice test to see where Windigo are at. Yeah,
and of course, we get right into this game. It's Mirage, maybe Pride slightly happier about this. I feel like this is probably not too much of a strong suit for Windigo here. Of course, into this knife round. Not too influential on Mirage, of course. Playability from both sides. I can hear the chat go mad in my ear, so I feel like we probably won't be getting into this one for the next few moments. But do you think Windigo will be wanting this CT side?
Yeah, certainly. I'm just mainly really surprised we are actually seeing Mirage here. This is a map that Pride have looked very good on. We said that's the map they beat AGO on in the first map of that series just earlier today. So I don't know how this veto went, but I really don't think Windigo should have let Mirage in, especially in those late stages. You'd think they would have had a chance to ban it out. Even after they banned out their weaknesses, you still need to look at your opponent's strengths.
Not very well. That's how the veto went. Not very well for Windigo.
I mean, maybe they've got something up their sleeve. Who knows?
I've got nothing up my sleeve because I've got no sleeves.
I've got sleeves here.
Yeah, I've got anything
got something up them. Let's have a look. I actually did just look up my sleeve as well. You can't see it, but I did. I did try.
I could see it.
Yeah. It was a good effort. There's nothing up my sleeve, apparently.
No, there's nothing up there at all. They go for this triple boost here. Everybody boosting up. Pride deciding that they want a bit of a party in T-spawn. What's going on? What are we looking at? Let's look at that. Can we look at that? Can we look at
jumping on his head? It's like Mario. He's like a Goomba. They're just killing him over and over.
Yeah.
Or they're getting the blocks and
yeah,
up, right?
there we go.
Hey.
There we go. They're teasing us. The observer's teasing us now.
Yeah.
I want to see the Goomba stomping.
I'm hearing it. I'm not hearing. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds like something else. What are they doing to that man?
Oh, gee. Can't be shown on camera, clearly, whatever they're doing to him.
We've censored it for your viewing pleasure. Get right into this knife raid, it seems, and as we said before, not too influential on Mirage. Doesn't really matter as much, but looks like Windigo will probably be taking this CT-sided first.
Yeah, I think Pride might go for some smokes over towards A, even for the pistol round. Certainly wouldn't be surprised to see that come through from their side of things. It looks like we will head underway. Pride indeed starting on the T side, as you would expect. And it looks like I might be proven wrong, because Pride only going to have Manice buy up the nades. They are still leaning towards the A site, though, so there we go. It seems like they are going to try and make the A play work. But there are 3 players currently there from Windigo. This will not be an easy push to overwhelm.
Victor's got the kit as well, so retake potential for Windigo. They're about to fall into the funnel. On a shot from behind as well. They're about to walk into this crossfire as Ships only finds 1. The T's actually make it out on top. And now Bubble has to do damage with this USP straight through the corner of the smoke. Reed's gone. It means that Victor can go back for this retake.
3 versus 3 still, even numbers for the time being. And as the smoke fades, the fight will ensue. Bubble does go down as Manice comes in for the 1-2 punch alongside his teammate. And now you can see Spellan on the big flank. Do they know he is here? It doesn't look likely. Spellan holding, does get that first kill, and now the bomb is out in the open. And you can see Pride, they still have the time, but they don't have the utility, so they're going to have to force this fight. It looks like Morales is going to force the opponent back, but Victor is also still in a fairly good position. They don't know where he is, but Victor misses that critical shot, and look at the bomb, trying to make a beehive to the B site.
Victor is such a streaky star. Really unable to hit some of the easier shots. We just saw it just there. Big whiff from Victor, the Bulgarian star, but that P2000 sometimes streaking itself. More actually cutting off this rotation, waiting for Victor to go past. Knows he's low health, means 1 bullet can finish him, and there it is. Assassination in the back, tries to go back for, ironically, more, but he has to fall around to go for the re-rotation in, as Spellan wraps around to the B site. Kit picked up, and he needs to find 2. Look at them lovely posters, Spellan. He's trying to this B site, and he's playing so slow and patient. Is Spellan just trying to hold off these angles? They're both here towards short, and he needs to nail both. He does spot out both, but it's Manice to sideline him, and Pride to take the first.
Yeah, nice pistol from Pride, even if it did go down to the 3-on-3, where they had to go ahead and make a somewhat tough decision when the flank was coming in. But eventually it did seem as though they managed to close it through. And now, of course, Windigo will just be back down 2 pistols. Couple of CZs, 3 Deegs in the mix, and they're going to sack towards the B site and hope that Pride move towards them. But for the time being, Pride just going to go for the mid-presence, make sure they themselves don't run into said stack towards B. And they will just try and see if they can get any info early on. Of course, full rifles for Pride, not something you see all that often. So if a couple of these do go down, that would be a big investment lost. So still certainly something to play for in this round.
And you can see Pride encompassing mid. They're all over it, with Luz taking those first shots in. Bubble taking a little bit of damage. He's out scouting for information, of course. No Kevlar, he wants that AWP. He peeks and pokes, trying to find that first shot, but it's the rifles instead coming up. Remember, Pride, 5 rifles set up. Don't want to lose anybody, but they're also taking no chances. Seem maybe a little bit timid at this Bulgarian side.
Morales tapping away, is going to get peeked elsewhere, and Spellan does get that headshot himself. In the meantime, Tom spraying away should get this kill. Ships is only on 2 HP, but Tom decides to go off the angle, maybe a little bit scared someone else could come into his crosshair. So that allows Ships to slightly reposition, but not for too much longer. Tom will finish him off. And there goes Luz finding a frag himself. There were, I believe, 3 AKs. There we go. Luz picks up one of those AKs. So they should be able to save all 3 of those into the next round, which is, of course, the most important thing for Pride. And Punisher over towards Kitchen is unlikely to get too much. So the AKs will be safe, and Windigo only getting the 1 frag by the looks of things.
Yeah, this Deagle, the only pickup from the Windigo side, it was something he bought up previously as Punisher. Doesn't punish, and Pride 2 rounds in a row. A good start from them, but this is to be expected. Of course, Windigo, the less favoured team in this. I guess if we had our ArcaneBet odds up, I think maybe Pride would be 2 times more favoured to be able to take this map. I would say it's probably 70-30, 75-25 perhaps.
Yeah, especially on a map like Mirage, I think that should have already swung the odds even further in favour of Pride, and this round should certainly be swung in favour of Pride because they have the B site all to themselves, and Tom will even get a kill over towards A just to make it a little bit nicer. Tom is going to have the support from Manice. Oh, actually, Manice doesn't get the kill there, so that's the AK lost, I believe. Let's see what Pride want to do about that. The push coming in, but you can see the AK not getting anything done. Tom finds himself a triple with the Galil, and Morels even goes in with the GOT to take the 3rd round for Pride. Let's see what the buy's like for Windigo, though, because they can get the AWP, and you would assume they would, considering Bubble has been saving for it. There is the AWP bought up.
I wonder if Tom is short for Tomislav. He was absolutely gutting players down mid, spraying all 30 bullets. 35 with that Galil, as you can see ships just holding him back in CT spawn. Wanted to go for a more passive setup, but already the pickup from Manice. And the second, no head armor punished. Victor, as we dubbed him the streaky star, takes bullets in the face in Pride. Look to possibly take this 4th in a row.
Yeah, Manice can be somewhat up and down as well, so that's clearly a good start for him in this first gun round. Spareland going aggressive, but the smoke fades, and that's going to cost him his life. Punisher finally opens up for Windigo, but the damage is already done. 1 kill is nowhere near enough to allow the retake to come through. Even on the A site, which is a bit easier to retake, just way too many opponents to deal with. And that was mainly just Manice with that 1 MAC-10 making all the difference out towards mids. And if he is on form, that's what I always say is really what should allow Pride to have very, very good performances. If Manice can show up, then the rest of the team should be there to follow it through.
Yeah, Manice definitely the biggest name on this T side, of course. A lot of the reason why they were able to take mid control just then, as you quite kindly previously mentioned. And Windigo, of course, neither of us are a fan of this map pickup, but it's all about what can they do. And perhaps if they can put together 5 or 6 rounds, a decent CT side, maybe they've got something to talk of in the way of a T-sided attack. But a pause already, maybe slightly flustered. Maybe they were expecting a slightly better start than this.
Yeah, clearly, again, Windigo, we haven't seen too much from them recently, right? So maybe they know something we don't. That could certainly be a factor. Maybe they have put the time into this map. We're not 100% sure exactly what Windigo want to play, but early on, as we were seeing, Pride certainly looked very well primed and ready on this map. We saw that MAC-10 out towards mid, only keeping the 1 MAC still working for them. And again, it feels like even if you put some preparation into a map like Mirage, I don't think you really want to play a team like Pride on this map.
Yeah, Mirage does seem like a dangerous pickup. We were saying that if Pride could get onto Mirage, possibly that... We said that it wouldn't happen. Basically, we said that that mistake wouldn't be made. It was very much like Kingwin picking up Nuke. I didn't know why they would give Squared that sort of advantage on a map that is pretty known for its upsets. I would say banning out Train and Nuke are essential against a team who can really just get rolling. And obviously, this tactical pause now, pretty crucial. I would say that they get their footing into this first half early. Otherwise, you know what Mirage is like. It can be a steamroll on either side of this map.
Yes, certainly. And we'll have to see if Windigo can find success with that AWP. We saw it previously, not really finding much. It can sometimes be difficult if you try and hold out towards mid initially. It's quite hard to actually get an opening kill there, so you have to reposition. Then the question becomes, which positions do they want to play from afterwards? And we'll get to see if Victor can perform with that looks like we are still just waiting on the pause. So we'll get to see. I mean, it looks like Windigo, they did save those 2 guns, but I don't think they're going to fully force off the back of it, considering the position they're in.
Yeah, looking like they're going to go for this unpause now. You can see the pickups, couple of pistols for Windigo. Victor, Spellon don't have the money to go for the investment. Ships joining them down in the dumps. Is these 2 rifles look to be the only real investment for Windigo. Is a 5-rifle setup from Pride. Greet them. I like this boost from Bubble. Straight up with the AWP. Fast short control and a quick frag. Morzell down as he tries to go for more. Slightly greedy as Tom punishes. Straight mid control for the Poles.
1-for-1 trade, but more importantly, the AWP dropped down for the time being, although Punisher does actually catch Luz off guard up towards mid, and Spellon is pushing forwards, but Manice more than ready on the hold. And even though Victor's going to push in towards a ramp, I don't know how much this is going to allow Windigo to take advantage of that information. We are going to see Manice switching weapons a little bit there, but Pride, by the looks of things, are going to go in towards Connector, and Reitz gets that first kill. Oh! Manice just tapping away, getting the headshot, and leaving Ships all by himself. Even though he's on the A site, shouldn't really be winning, though he does get the first kill. Tom is low on health. Oh, a second frag comes out. Reitz was there, though, to eventually get that trade. 5-0 for Pride early on. And sure, Windigo will be already back to a buy, but we'll have to see if they switch anything up for this upcoming buy round.
Yeah, look at that money. It's already rocking and rolling. Tom and Luz have had to invest. AK's dropped. They want to go for the follow-up pickup, but you see Reitz, he's on to almost $13,000. This is so much to work with as they go for this next buy, and it's the 5-rifle setup once again. All AK-47s for this Polish side, and it just allows running gun potential. Mirage, so famed for the executes, means that maybe Spellon behind the smoke. They're actually going to pour into him. Spellon gets a double, picks up the 3 as well. Completely blind, but he finds the trio.
And just like that, Windigo take their first round. It's as simple as that. Pride, to be fair, did maybe make a mistake there. Maybe just one flash would have been useful, but they weren't really expecting Windigo to have pushed up in towards B apartments so early on into the round. And so now Pride, of course, will still have the money for the buy, but they will be hoping that this round doesn't go as horribly wrong as the previous one. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them take a slightly slower round after that fast push was not successful.
Zal already on to mid, and Pride already crushing down. AWP gone, mid crushed, and Ships. A lot of work to do, but Maniz in the back does find one more straight between the shoulder blades. Spellon going free for more, but Maniz again eliminates the A side of things. And you see Pride, they're just rolling now. Another eco for Windigo. Has to be pretty much a full save. It's a Bulgarian team really struggling to get anything rolling on this CT side. Very underwhelming performance.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Windigo. Again, we question them going towards Mirage. And it's looking like they haven't really shown us anything to suggest that they're going to have a good showing here. Either way, a stack out towards mid could find some success. There's a fair few players on the other side. Damage done, but not the kills. Actually, a team nade there in the mix, and look at this. So many kills coming through for the CTs. They're going to push up top mid. They're going to get themselves the weapons, but Reitz is still ready to pounce. Decides not to push, though, and with the bomb being dropped, Pride are just going to try and use their time. But they do need to make sure they can take down these AKs that could still be dangerous for Windigo.
Reitz is here in underpass to throw a spanner in the works. Perhaps somewhere unexpected, expecting an A in top of mid push. You can see nobody peeking him. Is Reitz given space to crawl up mid? He's checking every angle, but here's the first frag, and Ships to find it instead. As Maniz peeks through with the AWP. Needs to hit this flick, and he doesn't. Ships to capitalize. Eliminates him, and Windigo finally put their duo of rounds on the board.
Very important round for Windigo. The stack towards mid works out for them. I don't know how that team nade got a kill, but still the pistols also coming through with some frags themselves. And then Pride were just too spread out in the 2v3. They couldn't really play together. Will still be a buy, though, for Pride, of course. They have the early winning bonus, which has allowed them to get this money built up. And Manice has got that opening kill out towards mid. There is still a man in towards Connector. And ooh, an awkward hole from both players. Morelts He's going to play safe, but Ships is going to stick around here. The smoke is going to fade. Who spots it first? Is Morel spotting the man, but not getting the kill. And Victor in position gets himself two. Finally, the trade comes back, but Spellan could be in trouble. Again, it's Reitz on the flank. He has to clear the right position here, and I'm not sure he's going to spot Spellan sneaking his way into a ramp. Indeed, he will not. And now Maniz could be in trouble if he doesn't expect Spellan to be pushed up there.
Maniz's AWP has been on point. Two for him once again. His bubble with the same weapon has to peek back through towards the A site. He's looking for this opening frag, but you see Pride just slowing this one down. Means that he can sweep back on, but he's going to notice that this might all be a bit of a ruse. As Maniz almost sidelines him, isn't needed, as Reitz is strong enough to find the frag alone, and Pride just keeping this ball rolling, 7-2.
Yeah, and again, Windigo going to be on a slightly sub-optimal buy, but it's not too bad, and they're still going to get the double AWPs out of it. Just Punisher, the one-man force down to the CZ. So let's see what Ships can do with this second AWP picked up. Well, Bubble again gets picked off towards mid. We've seen Maniz be on point with that AWP so far, and that's going to continue. He just keeps on getting that opening frag towards mid, and that makes it so difficult for Windigo now. You can see they're having to take a gamble towards the B site.
Yeah, they're trying to get this double AWP setup running, but their primary AWP is already gone. Bubble dropped, and Punisher has to pick up the pieces. Holding that scoped rifle, and you can see Pride just taking mid-control. They seem so confident. They're just diving around, darting about with their knives out. They don't really care, knowing that Windigo probably aren't going to get too aggressive. Spellan doing this classic. He always does it straight into apps. Maybe slightly predictable. People pretty much know that he plays this angle pretty consistently. Victor and Connect can only get one pickup before dropping. And Spellan back down. Straight onto mid means that Pride's going to take a different angle of approach, completely mollying him off, and he seems to want to go for this peak. You can see how much map control they've taken as well, and he's just here to cut off the rotation. Spellan does pick up a nice opener to level it back to a 2 versus 2, but this situation could be won by Maniz with a single bullet. Going for this peak would be slightly over-aggressive, but Luz is planted for him. And Punisher got to make this CZ action work, and it's the AWP instead to pick up the kill and actually attack onto the second. Spellan down to 77, and he's already picked up a triple. Needs to make this 1v1 happen.
Couple of flashbangs, but in the meantime, Luz has the molly. That could make all the difference if the time ticks down too far. Still, though, Luz will probably have to peek to throw the molly towards the bomb. So he might not be able to utilize the utility fully. Out comes the flash. Spellan fakes the defuse, and Luz does get the molly deployed just in time to make sure that Spellan cannot do anything. And Spellan will get the kill, but I don't know if he's going to survive. We'll have to see if he gets away. Ooh, just about gets there. 19 HP, but still, saving the gun isn't really enough at this point. The 4K comes in, not the round, and Pride already 8-2 up. And even with the save, as I was saying, not going to be good enough to get a goodbye together.
That Molotov being in the insurance policy there, Spellan couldn't do anything in that situation, even finding the frag, not able to take the round, and Windigo stuck on 2 rounds still. Down in the dumps, they've barely got anything rolling. We've seen some pretty bad CT sides today, I have to say. And Spellan is going to find that opener, maybe a slight chance, glimmer of hope for Windigo Gaming.
Still only him with the rifle. So he's got a lot more to do, and especially as he's solo holding A, as soon as Luz gets that kill, so quick on the trigger, and the stack towards the B site is not going to have too much of a chance to get a kill. I guess Reitz is sticking around, but don't expect him to push, although the rotate is coming back around here. Morel should hear the steps, but the Remfall will be recovered. Morel's, though, makes sure it's not for much longer, and he gets a second spray down. Solid work from him, just to make sure there's no chance for Windigo in the rounds. As I say that, Tom takes a dink, and in the meantime, Ships does get a kill, so maybe there is still some hope. Again, just as I build them up, Tom decides to shut them down. 9-2 for Pride, and, well, we did see Squared take a similar lead back on Nuke, and then the game ended up being close, but Pride, again, are a team of a different level, and you would expect with this strong of a lead on a map like Mirage that they know so well, they should be able to close it out already from this position they're in.
Windigo are usually pretty good on the CT side as well. Even on Mirage, their solid fundamentals means it's all about just hitting these shots. And A headshot hit there, capitalized by Bubble, but it's trades, even Stevens, as the spray comes through and Tom wins it again.
Yeah, again, they tried to push towards mid, but you see the players one by one picked off. Morells was actually in a really tough spot there, so the fact he managed to get one kill massively helped, but there goes Victor, finding a triple on the round. He is finally finding his footing. But Manish still wants to make this happen, and the two CTs are so spread apart. Manish, get your gun out, mate. There's a player around the corner. And Victor catches him off guard with the off angle. And finally, Windigo take a round together. And it was Victor, the man we were talking about in the pregame, who could potentially be the standout man for them. Not been playing well up until that point, but that 4K is certainly a very, very impactful one. Because look at Pride. They actually don't have much money built up. A couple of pistols in this buy now.
You can't win them all, Pride. Losing the mid-fight early, deciding to have to go for the re-rotation over towards A site, not knowing that Windigo still had a man over there, thinking that they were going to stack everybody towards mid. A perfect nade trails in, does a lot of damage, but Pride should be able to still work with this. You can see their money, as you said, start to falter. They barely got anything to work with. This is a full investment. The bottom of their bank reach to be able to go for this buy-up, and you can see they're very light on nades. I felt like it was probably going to be an A take otherwise. Instead, going for this mid-control with limited utility.
And Bubble might have free reign with that AWP now. He'd been shut down previously by Manis's AWP, but that's not something he has to contend with in this particular round. Victor, is he going to spot the players? They walk their way up short. The flash comes in. Victor now flicks back around, gets the first and the second kill. 2 headshots to almost guarantee the round win. And Bubble is even going to look to do more damage elsewhere. Punisher's going to hold off B. Does spot out Luz. Doesn't really have any support, but he does win the fight nonetheless. And so Reitz all alone cannot do anything. The one headshot comes out, but again, it's Victor with a triple kill starting to really show up for the Bulgarians.
Yeah, it was absolutely Victor on towards mid, hitting that double, going for the peak, perfect timing from him. One in that position is the break even, but finding 2 just pushes the Bulgarian side in the lead in that round in particular and forces it back onto this eco. You can see Pride don't have anything to work with, and for them it's all about finding double digits. Probably just going to be trying to look for a couple of opening picks here, but Windigo, they've read the economy perfectly. The MP9 pickup goes through, and more trying to take a bit of advantage through the smoke, getting a bit aggressive and getting sidelined. Ship's able to find this one as well, so a clean round for Windigo. They were going to be able to go for this full buy anyway in the final round, so Pride, it's all about trying to take double digits.
No AWP for Manish. So again, these double AWPs on the Windigo side might find a bit more success than we've been seeing previously. And in the meantime, for the Pride side of things, they're not going to group up to start the round. They do have a fair amount of utility, but it's not quite as full as they may have initially hoped. And here we go, Windigo themselves taking the fight to their opponents. A couple of players pushing up towards top mid. It's Victor who is the first man here. Again, he'd been stepping up in the previous rounds. Let's see if that trend continues, because Manish is certainly in trouble here. He's going to walk his way forwards, but he's not expecting Victor. So pushed up. And that first kill yet again comes through for Victor. Really stepping up, especially in these recent rounds. And Ships tries to go through the smoke, but will be forced back. And in the meantime, look at the rotate. The B site is wide open for the bomb.
This rotate, they've thrown them through the loop perfectly. Windigo don't know that this rotate's coming through and the bomb being planted on the B site. It's Tom to find one pickup, but
they don't know.
Still have no idea. And the game is up. The ruse spotted through, and Pride now have to set up around B.
Oh, Victor got that kill towards top mid, but Morelt's only good for a single frag. And so Reitz has it all to do. 3 to find. And he does get the first kill for himself. Peeks out and does get that second. Victor now has to hold his nerve, but Reitz manages to get the clutch. How did he win from that position? Stuck on the site, out in the open. He turns it into 3 1-on-1s. And Pride magically managed to get themselves double digits at the end of the half.
Reitz spinning around like a turret on that B site, finding shot after shot, and Pride just couldn't close in altogether. Windigo, beg your pardon, couldn't close in and couldn't punish him. Just stuck on that B site as well, unable to get the ball rolling. And you can see double digits now around that Pride certainly shouldn't have picked up. And it puts so much pressure on this pistol for Windigo. You can see they've gone for 4 sets of Kevlar. Spellum with the nades. Pride over towards mid. They've put Moors out here just to try and take this opener. And he even finds it. So Pride, every advantage going towards them early.
Opening kill comes in, and Morelts is more than happy to just play things safe and let the rest of his teammates possibly do the damage necessary. As I say that, though, Morelts still going to try and take some fights. And if he does get another kill, that could really settle things for Pride. Push has come out towards mid. You can see Ships is the man from Underpass who could be in trouble, as Tom is also positioned here. A fair few players trying to hold this one off, and Tom should spot the push-up connector. There we go. Morelts does double down. He's going to look for the third. I don't think he found it. Indeed, he gets taken out. And a quick dink on towards CT gives a chance. You can see the rotate so quick here. Bubble by himself. Tom taps off the heads, and Pride might just be too far ahead at this point.
Yeah, they seem to be all on point with the pistols as well, and they're playing this game without Luz, practically. He's only on 4 kills, having 0 impact, practically. He's the worst player on this whole server. It's been absolutely carried to a win right now, but Pride don't even need him. With Windigo playing so poorly across the board, they didn't show me anything to get excited about on the CT side. Now losing the pistol as well means they could be down and out before they even really get the rifles rolling. And Pride, they have got 4 rifles in this one. They ran this setup on their T side. In fact, with 5 rifles, it was the 3 AKs and the 2 Galils, if I remember rightly. This time, just rolling with the majority rifle setup. And it's Morzel again taking mid-control. You can see he's just looking for these openers. And straight into Underpass. Does actually get caught out by Victor.
Manice rattling off a couple of shots, does finally get that first kill. There's the second to follow suit. And despite Spellan having the rifle, he doesn't have too much of a chance. He was into connector there, but didn't quite spot out the opponent. A couple of players low here. If Luz goes down, then you can see Tom and Manice both fairly low. Still, though, Spellan needs to clear so many positions, pushing, peeking, trying to find a fight. But Pride have avoided him for the time being. And now, slowly but surely, Tom will try to get into position to help his teammate. Spellan going to clear the corner. Should be an easy kill, and Tom wasn't quite into the position he needed to be. Oh my god! Spellan just sprays through the wood. How does he get that final shot? I don't even know what to say anymore. Windigo managed to win the round. Insane clutch comes out. And maybe there's life still left in Windigo just yet.
I swear I've seen Spellan do that 10 times. He is absolutely nuts at predicting those angles. Game sense impeccable, and that one is to keep Windigo in this. You can see they're really struggling still with the money. They've not been able to buy up a full rifle setup. Instead, they're putting the pressure on Pride. As Maud's getting caught out here on Underpass, but the CZ comes out trumps. Able to back off as well, being chased down by the SMGs, but he does sweep into connector, rushing and darting away, being chased down by this UMP. Oh, and there's the nade to finish him off. He thought he was safe. Instead, he's sorry.
Indeed, he is. And just talking about that play from Spellan previously, I think it's actually, with how many positions he cleared, it's not a bad idea to fire off some shots there. There's very few angles the opponent can even be coming from, but Luz up close with the CZ. Oh, they're not going to clear the corner. The first kill comes out. Luz, 3 bullets left, taps them all the way. He's going to get taken down. No, what? How is he alive? Finally, Punisher finishes him up. In the meantime, Manice is still here, looking to lock down the B site. He's going to try and slow things to allow the rotate, but he's so low on health. The push comes in, and Reitz with the CZ himself is going to have to win a 1 versus 2. And the bomb isn't quite on the site just yet. It should be able to make its way forwards. Reitz does rattle off a couple of shots, not quite connecting, and the molly will force him back. And now with the CZ, it's very tough to get out of kitchen.
Look at him with this CZ. It's going to be so difficult. He needs to find an opener, and Punisher might actually give it to him here. Feels like he does want to go for that peek, and yeah, the CZ comes out on top. Bubble's able to trade. Nice 7th round for Windigo.
Indeed it is, and now of course Pride will likely just go for that hard eco. You can see Spellan very aware of that. Mac 10 comes out. To be fair, Windigo don't particularly have the money in the bank right now, so I'm sure they will be hoping that Spellan can get a fair few kills with that MAC-10, and mainly just to be able to save these 4 rifles into the subsequent round. And they will be lining up around that A site. A little bit risky to do this. There could be a stack here, but it's not going to be something that comes into play this time. You can see kills coming in so quickly. Tom only going to find the 1 frag in towards mid, but he won't be alive for much longer as Bubble finishes him off. And Luz, with a USP, going to try to do what he can. There is only, of course, the MAC-10 on the floor, so nothing really to be done unless he finds a magic kill, really. It'd have to be magic. There's no one near him.
Poof. You'd have to pull it out of a hat.
Yeah.
Maybe a rabbit in there as well. Of course, the only pickup he can maybe find is that SMG on towards mid. A MAC-10, pretty useless into the next round. You can see Windigo not even really contesting it. Knows that it's not a big pickup for this Pride side. Instead, he might even drop it in retort, probably picking up an AK-47, perhaps, well, no, an M4, obviously, but it's Windigo surviving with 4 players, and it's so important that they get this economy rolling, and they're finally getting it done. This is pretty much the job that they've been trying to roll with for the last couple of rounds now. Only losing 1 player, Bubble's going to drop him a rifle, well, should do at least, so Spellan can buy up the equipment with that. Of course, maybe Bubble wanting that AWP in future rounds, instead picking it up. So Luz actually keeping hold of that MAC-10, wanting to run it close, but I would say that this isn't the best idea for Team Pride.
Well, it's going to be Manise's AWP to open up, and Tom out towards mid, catches Spellan out in the open. And now Punisher might just be forced to try and make a play, and he might just succeed. Gets that first headshot incredibly quickly, and Bubble is here. Another kill comes out. And all of a sudden, we're back to a 3v3. Windigo, though, very spread apart, but they're still just finding headshots all across the map. This time, it's Ships to chime in with a kill himself out towards B. And Luz is going to try to play this map close. If he jumps up here, Ships is low on health, but he decides against it. Still trying to see if Ships pushes out a little bit too far. Windigo's still not particularly grouping up. And Luz is trying to get the information, not quite spotting anyone out, and Ships is just waiting on the other side. Reitz is nowhere near B, where the bomb is likely to move towards. And so Luz with just the MAC-10, how could he hold this off? Even 1 kill is unlikely.
The Mac Daddy, the McDonald's wanting to eat a couple up, but there's no Big Mac here. It's just the little MAC-10. And he's not spotting at anybody right now. He seems to know that there's 1 player hidden away, tucked inside. But now he leaves a lot of pressure on these Chicken McNuggets as he wants to move into jungle to try and take this man down, but instead falling back, M4 in hand, AWP pick up as well, but Bubble's here to punish. That's AWP gone. Only needs the rifle as Reitz actually backing off here in Palace. Bubble not quite chasing him down just yet, just waiting for this headshot angle. I hate to see people wasting food. I would have eaten that.
It's a shame you're not on the server.
Maybe they'd be winning. If I was on the server, I feel like they'd be doing a lot better. I'm fantastic.
You can tell yourself that. We'll all indulge you, don't worry.
I'm really good.
I guess Pride here could go for the Force. Oh, okay. A Nova coming out from Luz. You don't see the shotguns too often. Let's see where he plays with that. They could have gone for the Force buy, but they decide against it. Just making sure they can get the buy as soon as possible. They want that full buy together because Pride have been slipping a little bit here on their CT side of things, which is somewhat surprising to see. We have got Luz with that shotgun pushed up into a ramp, so that means a couple of Pride players will try to focus towards mid, see if they can spot out any opponents there. But Windigo are just holding back. You can see on the map, very little movement from Windigo. Not too interested in getting caught off in those close angles early on, but now they will group up. They will go out towards mid, and Manice only going to get the 1 shot before he is forced to fall back to start the round.
He doesn't win that health battle there, instead being forced onto less than 50 health before Windigo even make this push, and looks like Spellan tracing Morzel all the way up the stairs. Probably knows that he's here. Here's the 1 footstep, but Spellan, he is the lurker for this Windigo side. Once again, probably going to be trying to cut off these angles as Victor finds Here's one, Bubble as well. Everybody chipping in on this Windigo side.
Yeah, still a little bit scary to push B there, especially when Spellan should have heard the play running back through jungle, potentially rotating to B. There was a bit of a stack going, so wouldn't have minded seeing Windigo try and make their way over towards A after hearing a potential rotate off. It looks like Luz with the shotgun is just hoping that someone walks into his crosshair. Of course, you get a very high kill reward with those shotguns, so even the one frag would get him a solid $900. Not a bad little pickup if he could find a kill, but not looking too likely. As Punisher even tries to throw away the gun out of the map. No chance for the M4 to be saved, and no real chance for Luz to do anything. Windigo making sure they stick together. No need to hunt this man down. And we will get to see no more action to end things off. Luz, you can see, is trying to see if he can salvage a rifle, maybe, see if he can spot someone out towards B-Apps. But the rifle is gone, the players are nowhere near, and more importantly, Windigo really getting back into this game. An 11-10 scoreline now. But here comes finally a very strong buy for Pride. This is what they have been waiting for.
Yeah, certainly getting back into the groove at this point, and Pride with the AWP out once again. Maniz picking that one up. They've been struggling on the CT side to get their money rolling so far, but Windigo, they've got one of their own. It's on Bubble. He hasn't been playing with it all too much, to be perfectly honest. He's been pretty sharp with the AK-47. You can see Bubble just deciding to hold back his ships. Gonna try and pour this initial smoke grenade in. Is Windigo about to make this push out onto A?
Looks likely they've used a lot of their smokes, mollies to follow suit. And Reitz is stuck in towards Underpass. He gets taken down, or sorry, in towards Under Palace. He gets taken down first. Spellan to finish him off, and the smokes are locking them out, except for Maniz, who spots a little gap over the top of the smoke to get one kill back. But still, Windigo can fall back into A ramp and try and watch the bomb. Maniz, though, pushing forwards, nearly gets the wall bang, but instead it's Luz to steal the kill away. And in the meantime, Luz is out towards mid. He's going to come now through connector. There is still a smoke if they smoke off A ramp, but there's a player coming from mid. That might just catch them off guard. Bubble is there with the AWP. He comes in for the flank. And Maniz now tries to do something, tries to find any opportunity. But with the AWP, never really going to be happening. And Pride here really starting to fall apart. They were looking so good. I thought they'd be able to close things out. But they must have lost 6 or so rounds in a row at this point and still haven't seen a timeout from them yet.
Especially since there seem to be a lot of gaps in the attack for Windigo. Those smokes not perfect, and they weren't watching for the aggressive AWP pick as well. Knowing that Pride was on full economy, I don't know why you wouldn't be watching out for that boost. Instead, stuck onto pistols this time, Pride faltering nonetheless. As his MP9's actually drawing in a little bit of investment for Team Pride here, obviously wanting to level out the money before they go for a more wholesome buy.
MP9 can still be scary up close. And Windigo do seem to be leaning towards the B side of the map. Push is also going to come out towards mid, so they will take some longer range engagements. The bomb is still over towards B, and Pride now have 3 players stacked towards that side of the map. Looks like Luz, though, took a lot of punishment down to 6 points of health. And just as I was saying, Windigo look to be leaning to the B site. They are going to slowly but surely inch their way back towards A. And look at where Pride are positioned. They are not particularly holding on to that A site. It's only Reitz here with the MP9. And with plenty of terrorists about to come into his crosshair, I don't see him getting many kills from this position.
You can see Reitz. He needs to rattle off a lot of accurate bullets quickly, but they're so hunkered up, and he only finds one. Lots of damage onto Victor as well, so before Windigo can make this push, they do falter slightly, but Victor making the charge on in. These nades not going to connect with anybody. There's nobody else on this A site hunkered down for Pride. You can see those odds closing in as Moselle does find a single frag. Spellan as well on towards mid. He's been the insurance policy time after time for this Bulgarian side as Bubble falls back. Oh, mid-air jump shot. Finds one with a CZ. Punisher to go down. These CZs blasting through, and both players very low. Morzell finds another between the eyes, doming onto Bubble as Spellan here in Palace. Morzell needs it. One bullet, and he finds one. Pride on 12. Hold on.
well, they can't win the full buys, but apparently they can win with just a couple of SMGs and the pistols. Still, of course, the issue is Windigo have a fair amount of money built up. Even if they lose this round, they should be in decent shape to get a buy together. So Pride are going to have to rely on winning against gun rounds here, and they will, of course, themselves have a gun round to play with. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. In fact, Manice out towards mid is not going to have any opponents peeking towards him. That's a lot of info. You can see Pride even going to push up towards top mid there. Potentially could be seeing the push come all the way through and then the opening fight coming into play if the flash comes out. But for the time being, Pride are just going to stick with 3 players stacked towards mid.
And of course, the AWP on Manice on this CT side has been pretty decent over towards the A side of things, but needs to fluctuate and actually keep unpredictable if Windigo aren't just going to circumnavigate him. Instead, this mid defense seems fairly impenetrable. If Morzel falls, it's going to look a lot looser. The flash is perfect, but can't capitalize onto Victor. Instead, the kill's coming through on Pride's side nonetheless, and going to fall back to B.
And again, Windigo very spread apart. You can see the players just getting picked off. Manice gets another easy kill. Now they're going to try and group up, but there's only 2 players left. And Ships is the man pushed up into B apartments. If he does take down Luz, that leaves the B site very vulnerable. So this next kill means everything but Luz might clear the corner, spots the gun barrel, easy kill, executes his opponent. And Spellam wasn't particularly in position for the trade, so he just has to try and win a 1 versus 4. 25 seconds left, but still not too much to be done here. Doesn't even check the right position, and so Luz gets himself a nice double. I believe the AKs were just about safe there. They get a couple of AKs onto their sides. And more importantly, Windigo, yeah, they will still be going for a buy and might not actually go for the AWP here. No, it looks like they don't want to go for that AWP. And Punisher there buys up a UMP when Bubble had plenty of money to drop him an AK. So maybe not quite the communication coming through from Windigo. But clearly they are communicating that they want to lean towards the A site to start things off. And there's only 1 Pride player here, so a quick play could actually catch Pride out.
They're putting that UMP towards the top of mid as well. No idea why they're throwing him this direction. Instead, you see get caught off. That UMP useless in that range. And Bubble going to find a single. Now 2 frags with the AK-47, trying to do his best to fight his way out, but still got the player to contend with in T-Spawn. It's Luzza. Throws that nade in. Absolutely domes him. 14 rounds for 14. For Pride even. Christ.
And now Windigo are in a slightly strange position where they probably do have to go for the buy here, but again, it's not going to be fully perfect. They are still going to get 5 rifles this time. It's mainly the utility that is looking fairly lackluster. And up against the AWP, that is somewhat dangerous. If Manice can find some angles, if he doesn't get flashed off of his position he holds, he could certainly do a lot of damage into this round here without the utility on the Windigo side. And again, we're just going to see the Bulgarians spread to start things off. Pride themselves have fairly often been putting 2 players towards the B site. They've been happy to commit with that, which you don't see come out from every team. But Morels there gets that opening pick. I think that was out towards mid. I'm not entirely sure, but the first frag comes through nonetheless. And now Windigo themselves will try the mid control, but Manice is here, no smoke. Oh, the spray is horrible. He doesn't even do any damage. Finally, Manice is taken down, but it's still going to be Pride with the man advantage, and the bomb is still all the way back. So Windigo just have to play from a 2v3, and they can't commit to the push.
Such a streaky spray. Of course, Victor, often this inconsistent start. He'll either hit the 1 bullet or miss all 20, and that time it was certainly the latter. Pride maybe a few moments away from match point here. Of course, a best of 1 would put them into that winner's match against Squared of all teams. Not really expecting them to be playing in that one, especially. They're going to have to step up against this maybe more favoured Polish side, as remember Kingwin faltering early. Mid control taken now. Windigo making the way into the A site. Ships needs to be the point man here. He's on 100 HP. He's got the AK-47, but he's here to cut off the rotate. With the bomb going to be planted towards him. Reeds. All he has to do is take a couple of bullets on through. No, not quite a mad spray. A completely accurate one secures match point.
Yeah, Pride finally showing up on their CT side. and it looks like they will just about be able to pull through. Again, as I was saying earlier, Manice can be up and down, but he certainly had a good showing here today. Morelt's generally the consistent second player, and Reitz, again, is always just a solid, consistent, decent player for the team, and that is really what we're seeing come out for Pride here today. And now Windigo, they might switch up the pace. All 5 players stacked towards A. Plenty of nades to utilize here, so Reitz may have to be somewhat careful, but Manice now is going to come over with the AWP. And that's something that Windigo will have to deal with. He has been playing Ticket Booth. He has been playing over the top of the smokes when they have come through. So let's see if that will continue in this round.
The smokes have to be perfect to allow these pistols to draw level and get closer. One cutting off Manice, but there's a return frag grenade. It's probably going to be a little short as these smokes are placed. Windigo try and make the way in. Manice going to find the first shot. So he's in this crucial position. 1 and 2 for him. Going to be the absolute lockdown. All the 3 kills for Reitz. Spellen, last man alive. He's only got the CZ. This should be over.
Indeed.
It certainly is.
Yep. Morelts gets the final kill. Pride take the 16-11 victory. Again, we were saying Mirage should be fairly heavily in the favor of Pride. Maybe it could have been closer if they didn't get such a good start, but early on, they were looking so damn good. And you saw there, I think pretty much the team played as expected. If Manice is top fragging for the team, that is generally a good sign because you're going to have a couple of players following up. And that's exactly what Pride did, and a fairly solid win for them here.
A couple of close games, 2 winners, 2 losers, seeding sorted. We're about to go to a losers match and eliminate somebody from Legend Series. See you back here in a couple of moments while we'll be discussing this match over at Nikita's bar.
Place your bets on more than 15 esports games. Deposit and withdraw easily using many worldwide payment methods. Place your bets live while enjoying the game. We offer 24/7 support and bonuses for every new user. Bet now on ArcaneBet.com.
Welcome back, guys. I'm here with Hawker, who's just finished casting that match, so tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, overall, I think Pride pretty much were firing on all cylinders. This is what we're expecting coming into the day. If Manice is top fragging, there's generally going to be the consistent players behind him to be able to get the win, and that's what came out here for Pride.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. It was definitely much more dominating performance from them than Kinguin, who obviously lost their match, and they were the 2 teams that we expected to really be the top of this group. I think is Kinguin higher ranked than Pride?
Yeah, I think Kinguin probably are higher ranked. Just in general, they have been having probably better results. But I was kind of saying earlier, I think Pride is a bit more of a consistent team with those players like Morelts and Reitz who can always pretty much show up. And then if Manice is there, he really can push them over the edge. And that's why I think this Pride team is just very well set up with the players they have to be able to find success.
We were saying that earlier, that we actually thought even though Pride was lower ranked than Kinguin, we thought they were the best team of the group, and it seems to be that way. I think the other thing that we touched on was, or we discussed, was the idea that this group is very much about teamwork. As opposed to yesterday where it was about, I think, individual players kind of going off and doing really well. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think so. And we kind of saw, even though Windigo had some rounds where the teamwork did seem on point, it seemed like sometimes maybe the overall direction wasn't there. We kind of saw them try and spread out, maybe see if they could get the opening kill. And then when that didn't come through, when the team play wasn't there, that's when they really started to struggle on the T side towards the end. And when that got out of hand, Pride could themselves, they had themselves set up quite well. They had the crossfires, they had the counter flashes to be able to really just annihilate them towards the end.
So now, obviously, everyone, you've seen us, our partner ArcaneBet, there's opportunities for you to make some money off of this. We had an upset, so there's some people made really, good amount off of Squared beating Kinguin. Kinguin is now going to face off against Windigo. What's your expert opinion?
It's fairly tough to call this game now. I still think Kinguin, they just look so slow to start things off that shouldn't be an issue for them here. They should be a little bit more settled. And even though ArcaneBet will probably have them as favorites, I still think they are the more safe bet coming into this game.
Okay, so you agree with the betting odds, and there we go. So, okay, so we're expecting Kinguin to win. And what about Squared against the other?
Against Pride,
Pride.
Yeah, I think even though Squared had that performance, I'm going to need to see more from them until I'm convinced. It does depend on what the odds are, though. If Squared are still big underdogs. It's probably worth a punt there because we did see Nyx especially play very well. They also have a player such as Impulse. If he also shows up with the AWP, that could certainly, if they both show up, then they could certainly still have a decent showing. So
how much of the win do you think was actually based on the map? Because they're playing Nuke, which isn't a map we necessarily expect to see as often. And we saw it yesterday as well. So, which I think we were all quite surprised that they would end up picking that one. Do you think that's a large factor in the win over Kinguin?
Yeah, I think it might have been. It just throws a lot more up in the air. I think Nuke is always a map that it seems like a lot of teams don't necessarily know their level that much because they don't get to play it too often. So when a team does try and play, they don't exactly know where they're at. It does allow the chance for upsets. And as well, we saw Squared, they were certainly well prepared. Those smokes towards outside, consistently working, especially early on to get that lead. Yeah. And that was really, really useful. It was good to see that they themselves were prepared for Nuke as the underdog to use that to their advantage.
Yeah, well, that's certainly interesting. Anyway, thanks a lot for coming up here. Guys, we're going to shoot a short break, and we'll be back with more Counter-Strike action. Or maybe not.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Production. I don't know. Well, let's just keep chatting. And we'll keep that going there. So looking forward, so we have the 2 matches coming up. Who do you expect to kind of continue on winning? Do you think Pride is just going to make it all the way to the finals and Kinguin is going to fight their way back up? Or do you think if Squared, even if they fall down, do you think they'll be able to win it, take it over the other?
Yeah, overall, I think it's probably going to be fairly close. I think should be seeing Kinguin come back, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, and that's, I guess, what we're going to be seeing coming up shortly.
Did you say we're going to a break?
We should be.
All right, guys, we're going to a break now, and we'll be back soon.